Welcome, welcome, my sisters. Welcome to this week's episode, this week's session here in the Shamanic Sister Circle. I'm super happy to be here with you today. Everyone who's joining me live, let me know how you're doing in the comments. Everyone who's watching this on the recording, let me know as well. Let me know where you're joining from. I've been in Europe the past 2 months and flying back to Bali next week, which I'm already really excited about. And today I am super excited to talk to you about how to become a clear channel for healing, a clear channel for spirit. And you'll agree with me that this is a super important topic because basically that's what we do as healers, right? We become a channel for healing energy to flow through us, from us. The energy is coming from spirit, we become the channel, and then we help ourselves and our clients to heal, which is a really beautiful, magical thing. So I can't wait to dive into this important topic, and we're really going to talk about the requirements on all levels, really on the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual levels. So we are covering how to create a clean, strong, relaxed body, how to foster a calm, focused, positive mind, how to open and heal your heart, how to become one with spirit. And that's also about, getting clear on your soul purpose. So we're going to talk about that as well. And I'm also going to answer the questions that I've already received from you about this topic and about shamanism and this path as a healer in general. And if you have any other questions coming up as you watch this live or on the recording, please just pop them into the comments and I'll be happy to get back to you there and then. I'm also going to share a little bit about Shamanic Stars today, which is my 7 months long shamanic apprenticeship that includes holistic business coaching, because I have 2 scholarships left, partial scholarships. That's a minus 30% discount. Those will be awarded this week and next week, so it's a pretty cool chance to snag one of those. And there's also a chance to win the Dark Goddess Initiation, my 2-week Shadow Integration Retreat, which is really one of my deepest offerings, and you can get it for free. So let's dive in. I'm going to start with the physical requirements, the physical level of our being. What we really need is a clean, a strong, and a relaxed body. And those 3 words are all really important. So, clean, what do I mean by that? Our body is cleansed, so it's free of toxins, it's free of energetic intrusions, free of stored trauma, right? Because we want energy to flow freely through us, right? And we are incarnated in a body right now. So it's no use if we have a brilliant connection to spirit. The energy still has to flow through our bodies to reach our clients. And so it's really important that we take good care of our bodies. Now, why do I say strong? Because, we are, when we are healers, we sit in meditation a lot and we drum, there's physical things that are required. And a strong body obviously is also a healthy body, right? We want our muscles to be strong. If our muscles are not strong, what will happen as we go through life, as we sit, as we walk, whatever we're gonna do, we're gonna strain our muscles, because when they are weak, they're having trouble holding up our body in the right way, and that creates tension, right? So we need strong muscles as healers. That's also really important. And at the same time, we really want to have a relaxed body. It's obvious that if we can be very strong, but we can be tense at the same time and not relaxed, right? So we really want to have both. So there's no point like going to the fitness studio and pumping up the muscles, which is what a lot of people do, and then they get even more tense, right? So we want to be strong but relaxed at the same time. I hope this makes sense, why this is important for healers. So how do we do that? There's different things that we can do. First of all, we can cleanse. We can cleanse our bodies, and that's really, really important. And that's one of the yogic elements that I have included in shamanic yoga, because it is just really, really, really important. So cleansing is like all about making sure that our body is free from everything that we subject it to, right? Like when we eat unhealthy stuff, which let's face it, all of us do at some point, right? Whether it's coffee or alcohol or sugar or gluten, too many carbs, like whatever it is. Hi Victoria, how are you doing? So it's really important that we clean our bodies from time to time, right? And in yoga we call this kriya. Those are all the cleansing practices. Some are really big, you know, when you clean your whole intestinal tract, for example, with salt water, which I do once a year, sometimes twice even, which is a bit more strenuous. But there's also smaller things, like for example, I practice Jalaneti. It's a practice I've been practicing for 14 years, and I do it every single day, where you clean your nasal passages with salt water. I have a video on that on YouTube if you want to check that out. I don't know how people live without this practice. Like it is really, it keeps me from getting sick. Like just here when I landed in Austria 2 months ago, like my whole family got sick. Everyone, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, my son, and I'm the only one who stayed healthy, and it's because of this practice. I absolutely know. Because I just clean away all the germs, everything, every day, everything, you know, we walk through the streets, there's all of these toxins that come up, and our nose tries to filter it, and when it can't, it all comes down into the body, so we want to avoid that. So this one I can really recommend. Cleansing regularly is really, really important. And in line with that is fasting, right? Fasting is such an important topic as well. I have to do it for hay fever or blocked sinuses, says Victoria. Yes, absolutely. When you feel a cold coming on, you can still do it. When you're really blocked already, it's not smart because then the salt water can stay up. So we want to avoid that because then you get even more sick, especially in cold weather. But absolutely, if the cold is just starting, it's the best thing. Like sometimes I wake up in the morning and I feel like, oh wow, you know, it's like my throat is itchy or whatever. As soon as I do the practice, it's gone. And the coolest thing about Jalaneti is it also just clears your mind. It really helps you to focus your mind. It's not just working on a physical level. Obviously, everything we do is always working on all the levels, which is why I want to cover them all today. Fasting is such a fascinating topic. And I really want to talk about that today as well, because we have the Dark Goddess initiation coming up. It's such an important 2-week retreat. It's like one of the oldest practices that we have as women together collectively, and it's just, you know, been forgotten how to go into the underworld to meet the Dark Goddess, to really release everything that no longer makes any sense for you, that is really a burden. But this practice has been around for millennia, and it's so important to revive it. You know, all this drama that we experience, we wouldn't if we would know how to undergo this journey regularly. It is not an easy practice. It's a really, really deep initiation, but I love it, and I know that once you've done it, you will never feel the same. And I can't wait to hold it live again this year. We're starting on 28th of October, so we're going to have a beautiful Samhain celebration mixed in there as well. It's perfect for the topic, and I haven't held it live for 2 years now, so last year I didn't do it, so I'm really excited. And you can win it for free today, which is really cool. I'm going to tell you more about that later. And we're going to do fasting in this retreat as well, and it's such an important part of keeping your body clean, strong, and relaxed is regular fasting. Now I do intermittent fasting, which means that I eat dinner early and I have breakfast late, and I do that every single night. And there's so many other things that you can do on a daily basis to make sure that your body stays clean. And also, of course, there's bigger efforts in fasting. I'm actually going into quite a strict routine now, and I'm going to be back in Bali. I've already ordered all the stuff that I need, and I really look forward to sharing more about how I'm going to do that in the retreat. In the retreat, we have 3 different levels of fasting, so you get recipes for all of them. You can go really hardcore in there with level 3, or you can do just a really slight fasting with level number 1. There is really something for everyone. Fasting regularly is super important, and of course you want to do it the right way. There's so many different styles of fasting out there, and I want you to be really careful of you know, like just buying some kind of book. You know, it might be a great fast for someone, but maybe not for you. We're healers, we're sensitives, it's really different for us. So the kind of fasting process that I'm sharing really isn't just a physical process, it's an emotional, it's a spiritual, it's a mental process. And for me, it's really important to combine that, because when we just focus on the body, we don't often realize what we're actually doing on the other levels, and that can really confuse our system in a big way, which is why I've been guiding women onto fasting journeys for a decade, so I really have a lot of experience about how to do this and how to do it in a custom tailored way, so that really it is right for every single woman. Andra, hi, you asking, how can we best cleanse the energies that we pick up from our environment? That's a really good question. So ideally, you already know about energetic ways to protect your personal energetic space so that you don't attract these energies in the first place. But of course, it is unavoidable to pick something here and there. So first of all, there is prevention, right? And when you've already extracted them, the most powerful way is through extraction work, shamanic extraction work, which we do in a shamanic healing session. So I'm going to talk more about that a little bit later. So for now, let's go on with the body. How do we strengthen and relax our muscles? Well, we do it with the right kind of movement practice. It needs to be a conscious movement practice. This is really, really important, because what most people do when they exercise, either they don't exercise, right, or they do it too little. But when they do it, often they're not paying attention. They're doing something else. They're watching something or talking to someone or, listening to music. It's all okay, but ideally we want to realize that our body isn't just this machine that we need to oil or whatever. It is, we're really doing something on all levels when we're moving our bodies. So for healers, it's really important that we have a conscious movement practice, and for me, of course, the go-to is asana, and more specifically shamanic asana. So when I design my yoga practices, I make sure that I have this shamanic element included that lets me connect to the energies of Mother Earth and of Father Sky, and lets me feel where these energies meet to create me in this very moment, and what my body needs in the moment. That's really important, because sometimes we need to release something physically. It can really help us to release something emotionally or mentally while we're moving. Sometimes we actually need more energy into our system. So when we have this connection, the spiritual connection while we're moving, it gets a lot easier, which is why in Shamanic Stars, in my apprenticeship, we have different shamanic asana practices for different needs, and they are really, really brilliant. And in the Dark Goddess initiation, I've included them as well, because this is really the process where we shed on such a deep level, like bigger than you ever have before. I'm absolutely sure of that. You're gonna get rid of stuff that you didn't even know was there. You're gonna feel 10 tons lighter. You might lose physical weight. You might just lose emotional weight. Lots of drama is going to disappear from your life, and the movement can really help us with that. Let me know if you have any questions about the body, the physical requirements for becoming a clear channel for spirit before we move on to the mind. So what we really want on a mental level is we want to have a calm, focused and positive mind. This is probably what I struggled with the most in my life, because I started my yoga practice when I was 18, but really yoga alone really didn't help me to calm my mind. And that's the first step we need. We need to stop this constant thinking, and it's normal that there's a lot of mental activity going on. We live in a world of beta frequencies. That's really a very mental frequency, which is why the trance state is so healing, when we transcend that frequency, when we go a lot deeper and higher at the same time into higher consciousness, which is really so healing for our mind, so calming. But that's why I love shamanism as well, because it really allows us to, the trance state allows us to calm our mind in a way that is much more effective than through classical yogic meditation. I never really managed to get there all the way. And through shamanism, I learned how to silence my mind at will, which is pretty amazing. It kind of changed everything for me. Also in my relationships, it's just a very powerful skill to have, especially in this very loud world. So first we want to learn how to calm the mind, and then we want to learn how to focus the mind, and then we want to make sure that our mind is positive. So why is that important for us healers, and why is it a requirement for being a clear channel? Our thoughts are probably the biggest obstacle to becoming a clear channel for spirit. When I start training my apprentices, this is what we need to work on the most, which is why the first 3 weeks are really only focused on calming the mind and opening the heart, because that's the most important prerequisite for becoming a good healer, that your own thoughts are not in the way. You don't need your thoughts for healing, not at all. It's kind of like you're going to become the best healer ever if you can step aside, if you can become the hollow bone, a clear channel for spirit, and your thoughts are really not needed. Whatever you think in the moment is not important. So you need to be able to really completely silence your mind. They're just not going to be, if you do it the right way, if you've practiced and learned it the right way, your thoughts are simply not going to be there, which is such a reviving, amazing experience in itself. After a healing session, I always feel so revived and strengthened and energized, because my thoughts were absent, you know, my ego was absent, my little me was absent, and I was just pure love, pure light, pure spirit. And that's just one of the most beautiful experiences that we can have here incarnated in a body. So I hope you can see why this is really important for us healers. And how to get a positive mind is a practice. Like, there is really no one process that you can use for that. You know, to create a calm and focused mind, I really recommend shamanic meditation, which is the process that I've created, where we really work a lot with, you know, it's not just this mental exercise of calming the mind, sending thoughts away or something like that. It's much more about the getting in touch with the mental energy, really starting to feel that energy and knowing where to send it to really calm it, which is downwards. We need to send it down into our hearts so we can really open them as a next step and heal them, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. But staying with the mind for a moment, our goal really is to get out of the mind, to send the energy downwards to the heart, and to have a calm, focused mind and positive thoughts and empowering beliefs. And of course, like, positive thinking is something that you need to, you need to watch yourself moment to moment. What am I thinking? Is this actually serving me? Is this actually true? What could I think instead? And you need to adopt more empowering beliefs. And if you watch your thinking and your thoughts, they will in turn, change into more empowering beliefs. But what can, of course, really help is, again, shamanic meditation. And in this case, I'm talking about really like guided meditations that I've created for my apprentices, which are really about working with visualizations and with affirmations, but in a trance state, which just allows it to sink that much deeper and for this process to happen much faster, in a much more powerful way. Good. Let me know if you have any questions about the mental requirements of becoming a clear channel for healing before we move on to the emotional ones. Hi, Nikki. Welcome. So when it comes to the emotional level, what we really want is a healed, open, and loving heart. So the first step is really to open our hearts. Most of us, we have what's called a heart wall. It's really this dense energy around our hearts that we have created over time as we got hurt, because we didn't want to get hurt again. But of course, this layer, this barrier really keeps us from feeling fully also all of the good things in life. And as a healer, it's an absolute no-go, because in a healing session, what you feel is actually not so important, right? This works really mostly on the spiritual, on the soul level, on the energetic level. But as a healer, how you interact with your clients, how you lead your business, that must all come from the heart. How you feel your mission in the world, how you can feel your purpose. If you don't have an open and healed heart, this is going to be really difficult for you, because we create our reality by how we feel. And if your heart is numb, then it's going to be a really hard thing to do. And then you're going to create this kind of dead-end life experience that most people live in the world, That's why there's zombie films, because that's what most humans are, sadly. So, heart opening and healing. I know it's not the easiest topic. It hurts. It does hurt. There is no way around it. But it doesn't hurt for long, If you actually face what's in there and you know how to release it, which shamanism gives us the opportunity to do, then it really becomes easy to get to that state where you have an open, a healed, and a loving heart. And that's really such an important thing for being a healer. You want to be compassionate. You want to really feel people, because if you can't connect to them emotionally, it's going to be really difficult for you to attract the right people. Yeah, so you want to make sure that you emit clear emotional signals that will attract the right clients into your sphere. I see this a lot with healers on social media, like the way they write their posts, the way they show up in their lives, it comes a lot from the mind. It doesn't come so much from the heart, and people can just feel that. So we want to make sure that we don't do that. Now, how do we do that? How do we create this open, healed, and loving heart? Well, through heart opening and heart healing and heart releasing practices. And again, for me, shamanism is the answer here. I've created amazing shamanic inner child healing sessions. Many of our emotional troubles, many of the reasons for why our hearts are closed and not healed or hurting, why we attract drama and intense negative emotions, is because of inner child wounds. And I don't know about you, but I have tried to heal my inner child after my traumatic childhood for so many years without any success. Like, I started therapy when I was 13, and it was a really frustrating and even damaging process to try, like, to go to psychologists and all this kind of stuff. I've been through that route, and it was not good. It was really not good. So I created these shamanic inner child healing practices for myself in the first place. And they are just amazing, because when you get into the trance state, you're gonna feel really safe. If someone is guiding you the right way, you're gonna feel really safe. And you can't heal your little inner child if you don't feel safe. So you really have to be guided in those sessions. It's no good to guide yourself, because you won't be able to let go. And that's what our inner child needs. This is the part of us that never grew up. I was talking to a client the other day about this, and I was explaining to her, the inner child is not, this one thing, right? There's many different wounded inner children within us. Every time we experience trauma as a child and we couldn't cope with it mentally or emotionally, this part of us like frozen time, right? And also, we are not just this adult person sitting here. We are still a child. We are still all the versions inside. We carry all the versions that we have ever been inside of ourselves. So it's like these Russian dolls, right? There's one layer after the next, and we are still the 2-year-old that got neglected. We are still the 7-year-old that got abused. Whatever we've gone through in childhood, we are still these children, as well as all the good versions, the bright children as well. So it is a really complex topic that most people who put out their inner child healings have no idea about, and it can actually even be damaging. So I really recommend for you, if you want to do this work, do it the right way. Then, of course, there's shamanic shadow integrations, which is also a really important part of emotional healing. Now, the shadow is to do with the inner child. They are connected. It's when we really continue to not be able to face part of who we are, part that has been judged as wrong, that, for example, your anger, your angry self, or your hurt self. Maybe you haven't been allowed to cry as a child. Maybe anger was really severely punished in your family. Some emotion that is actually a natural response in some situations got suppressed, and then it became a shadow. It became a distorted, unnatural, exaggerated version of what it originally was. And the only way to integrate that back into who you are and to heal is through shadow integrations. You have to really face that shadow, and again, it's not an easy process, so make sure that when you do that, you are expertly guided. And this is exactly why I created the Dark Goddess Initiation, because it is really a process where you don't just face your shadows, you face your whole life. Everything that's in your life, you have a good look at it, and you release everything until there's nothing left, until you are nothing. You're pure soul, pure spirit, and nothing else. And only when this is the descent journey, right? And when we come back up, when we ascend afterwards, we consciously decide, what am I going to pick back up? What do I actually want in my life? So I have seen women leaving behind their husbands on this journey. I have seen women leaving behind their homes on this journey, leaving behind their jobs on this journey. So many things have absolutely shifted for them, and they felt so much better for it, and they could never have imagined doing that before, because so much fear was attached to that. So this is really the most powerful way to deal with all that stuff that's not processed within our hearts, is shadow integrations. Let me know if you have any questions about this process. Hi Laura, welcome. Our positive and joyful thoughts have a high vibration. Absolutely. And this is not about, shamanism is not about spiritual bypassing. we are absolutely going to the dark places, but we also recognize that we don't want to stay there, right? So we deal with the stuff that's there, so that these vibrations then no longer need to be active within our systems. They are no longer triggered as we go through life, and then we can really shift into feeling better and, of course, thinking better and just attracting better experiences. Victoria's saying, oh my goodness, I've been listening so much to this recently, how we've been conditioned to live in this lower frequency. Yes, absolutely. It is because most people live in this lower frequency, and we've practiced it a lot growing up. Like, the first 6 years of our lives, we were just sponges picking everything up. So we've practiced this vibration. I was just having this situation yesterday with my son where I came out of meditation. I was in a really high vibe mood. We were going shopping. It was really hot. It's middle of September, but we still had a really hot few days here in Austria. And we were walking in the heat, and my son got really grumpy from the heat, and I was just like not even feeling it, I was just really happy and noticing all the beautiful things, and even found a really ripe big fig in the middle of Austria. So I was attracting lots of good stuff. But he kept being grumpy and grumpy and grumpy and angry and annoying, and I could feel myself lowering to his level slowly, slowly, slowly. And I struggled, and of course, the more I struggled, the more I descended. And that's because these frequencies are all around us, so it is really, really easy to tune into those instead of to the ones of our higher selves, which is why it is so important that we have a strong spiritual practice, our daily sadhana that keeps us in a high vibe. There's nothing wrong with being in a low vibe. Sometimes we are human, it's normal, right? But this is not where life is fun, so we want to make sure that we have ways to get back there really fast. Being in our heart space and power is so important. Absolutely. Yes, it really is. Inner child healing is challenging. It's much easier to be held by someone else or to have something like shamanism. Yes, it really absolutely is. There's just some processes, that are where we just can't hold ourselves, That's why we're not alone in the world. We have each other to help each other. Andre is asking, what other practices can we do for our heart opening and healing besides inner child healing sessions? Yeah, like I was talking about, shadow integrations is the other really big one that I recommend. And of course, there is, shamanic meditation, which I mentioned before, which is kind of the first step, where you flow out of your mind and into your heart, right? Before you can do any heart healing, you need to land in your heart first. You need to open your heart first. Otherwise, the healing is not going to be effective. You're not going to be able to go deep. So the shamanic meditation is really the first step. And then we want to do inner child healing as a second step, and the shadow integration is the third one. I hope that clarifies it. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, guys, but I'm really passionate about this topic. Good. So spiritual. Let's talk about the spiritual level. What we really want here to become a clear channel for healing is the awareness and accessibility of our higher self and soul self. That's the first part. As well as the deep connection and union with spirit, and crystal clarity on our mission. So there's really 3 different things that are all interconnected on the spiritual level that are really important, right? So we have the awareness of our higher self and soul self and the accessibility of them. We need to have a practice, which is shamanic journeying, that helps us to access our higher self and soul self at will. Whenever we choose to connect, we know how to connect. So for yoga, I was struggling with that. With yoga, I was struggling with that kind of thing for years, because sometimes I got the most amazing experiences and sometimes nothing for days or even weeks, right? So shamanism is not like that. You really get to, it's like, having a telephone, and you can just call your higher self, your soul self. You just get to instantly connect. Of course, it takes some practice, but if you learn it the right way, it is actually quite easy. And then you want to have this deep connection and union with spirit. And that is what we learn when we train as shamanic healers. That's when we learn how to facilitate shamanic healings by really becoming one with our spirit guides and with our power animals, right? Spirit manifests, or spirit shows up in many, many different energies and versions. And in shamanism, we work with all kinds of different spirit guides as well as with power animals, and we learn as a shamanic healer how to become one with them, because then they can work through us when we are becoming this clear channel for healing. And that's really how we can move soul level energy. That's why shamanic healings are so powerful, because we can move the core, we can work on the core issue of why any kind of problem has arisen in the first place. We can learn from it, we can consciously integrate the lesson, We can bring back the soul parts that we lost. We can release the soul parts that we no longer need. So it's pretty amazing. And also, of course, what we want on a spiritual level is we want to be crystal clear on our soul mission, on our soul purpose. Why have we incarnated in the first place? Of course, there is an obvious answer, which is to enjoy ourselves and to share our unique gifts with others. That's the general purpose, but there is something more specific, a unique mission that we came to contribute to. And I really find that the most successful healers are the ones who have found what their mission is and who are doing exactly that and not meandering around on the outskirts of what being a healer actually means, right? And this is why in Shamanic Stars, I teach this as part of the process, as part of the apprenticeship. You're going to really focus on what is your unique healing mission, because you are needed. You're here for a specific reason, and you have to find out what that is so that you can start to do this work in a really powerful way. And that's when you get so much magic out of it, and that's where all the fulfillment is, and that's where all the people will be attracted to you, because you're doing something unique that nobody else is doing, right? You're being your soul self, and you're making that your work. I mean, how beautiful is that, right? So obviously, I think it's obvious why that is a requirement, right? We can't be a real healer if we don't have that connection with our higher self. So we constantly are stuck in our ego self, then we're not living our spiritual selves at all. If we don't have any concept of our soul self, of our mission, then we're kind of really lost in life, right? If we don't have this deep connection and union with spirit, then we're not going to feel worthy of all the good and magical and mystical things in life, because we're cut off from that energy, which is part of who we are, right? A really important part, the eternal part of who we are. And then, of course, we can't help other people. If we don't have this union, then we can't move soul level energy, and then, we can't be energy healers. So how do we do all of that? How do we get there? Through shamanic journeying to access higher consciousness, right? Putting ourselves into a trance state, traveling the higher realms of consciousness. And of course, by learning how to facilitate soul level healing, which is how we take away the energies that don't belong to someone and we bring back what they've lost in the course of this lifetime and other lifetimes. That's what we do as shamanic healers. So we really learn how to become the hollow bone, right? A clear channel for spirit to flow through, to facilitate healing. It's really the art of becoming one with our guides and with our power animals. And all of this, obviously, everything that we just talked about, it isn't a one-time achievement. That's really important to note. It is a continued commitment that is upheld through our sadhana, through our spiritual practice. And, it is so easy to get distracted in life, to feel like we don't have time for any of this, but then we can't be healers. This has to be so important. Like, I was literally criticized by my family because my son is sitting downstairs. He's on summer holiday right now, while I'm up here like doing my yoga, and they didn't understand, And first of all, he's not suffering. He's sitting downstairs and playing with amazing toys that I arranged for him, and with cool activity books and that kind of stuff. And second of all, if I don't do my yoga, that's part of my sadhana, then I can't do my work, then I can't be a healer, because I wouldn't have that strong, relaxed body. I would have all kinds of physical pains to deal with all the time. How can I be a great healer if I'm struggling with all of that, right? And that doesn't mean that if you feel like, oh my God, I'm nowhere at all with these requirements at the moment, it doesn't mean that you won't be. That's why I have created Shamanic Stars, where I have included all of this, and you can literally learn it all in the course of just 7 months, which even includes the business coaching, and at a time commitment of just 3 hours a week. So it is absolutely doable if you do it the right way. But it is very true that if you look for all of these different resources in different places, it will take you a decade, right? Which it did for me. This is why I have really created this training, so it would be easier for you. So obviously it is the most powerful and the easiest way to do it all, through this combination of yogic and shamanic self-care, the shamanic journeying and shamanic healing. And that's what Shamanic Stars is all about, my 7 months high-level apprenticeship style training. It really has it all. And right now I really wanted to talk about that to you, because I have 2 partial scholarships available for the month of September, as well as a chance to get the Dark Goddess Initiation for free. So this is the perfect moment to join if you've been thinking about that, or if you're just hearing about it for the first time and it sounds like exactly what you need. Don't hesitate to book a chat with me so we can talk more about this. So it is really a very magical journey of becoming a successful healer, a powerful channel, a true light leader. And it's just like it's the one path, that really covers it all. And I love this program. We are like family. It is a small group of women. I give a lot of personal attention to everyone. It is a really high level training. You're never gonna need any other kind of training to become a powerful healer with a successful business, which makes it pretty unique and amazing. And yeah, I'm really proud of it, and it's such fun to teach this program. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, how it works, and then I will share with you the answers to all of the questions that I have already received from you, which are a lot of them, like how do I know I'm ready to become a healer? How do I know I have what it takes to become a healer? How far along do I need to be with my own healing? What self-care routine works best for healers? How do I set healthy boundaries? There's a lot of different ones, and I will talk about all of that in a moment. And if you have any other questions watching this live now or on the replay, pop them into the comments and I'm happy to include those as well. Let me just check the comments now before I go on. Very new to shamanism, says Irene. Hi, not sure why I'm being drawn to this, but I always feel heat on my hands, like me thinking I'm being called to be a healer, but do you have any suggestions for a new starter like me? Absolutely, explore shamanism. Have you participated in my shaman initiation? It's a 3-day program that really answers all of these questions, like, am I actually called to being a healer? And what does it actually entail? What does it actually mean? So I recommend that you go through that experience, and it will give you tons of clarity and confidence, as well as clarify the next steps. And of course, you can also book a chat with me. We can talk more about it. I'm unable to meditate since 2 years. My mind is pretty calm. It's weird because I have been meditating for more than 50 years before I started having difficulties. I do get downloads in my thoughts and dreams. Okay, this one is a bit too long for me to see more right now. There can be really, really different reasons for why you've been unable to meditate, and before it worked and now it didn't anymore, but it definitely sounds like some kind of block. We would have to explore more together where that comes from, what exactly it is. It could be a block in one of the chakras, for example in the third eye chakra, that sometimes happens. It could be a past life wound, the witch wound, for example, that where part of you wants to prevent you from going deeper into this calling for fear of what might happen if you become visible. There are so many different things that could be happening here. It could be some kind of energetic intrusion that you're dealing with. So there's lots of reasons, but whatever it is figure outable. There is definitely a way to get past that. Irene, where can I find the shaman initiation? I will send you a link later. It is really the best place to start exploring if you are a healer, and what exactly your calling is as well. So let's talk a little bit about shamanic stars. I have gotten so many questions from so many of you in private messages about the training since I announced that there's partial scholarships available right now. One has already been taken, and I'm awarding the other 2 this week and next week. It's a 30% discount. And so really how it works is you spend the first 9 weeks learning shamanic journeying safely, step by step, all while really up-leveling your self-care, your self-love, and you learn how to facilitate soul-level healing for yourself through your new spirit team, which is really exciting. And that's the first step. And then the second step is really to learn how to facilitate shamanic healing work, that is energy extractions and power retrievals, soul retrievals for your clients. I also teach you how to create and facilitate guided shamanic meditations as well as rituals, and I teach you how to do this in person as well as long distance. And these 2 steps together are the full shamanic apprenticeship, and it takes around 5 months to complete. And then you're a certified shamanic healer. Pretty exciting. And then there's part 3, which is how to create a profitable healing business with soul, right? I teach you how to do this with your purpose as the foundation of your business, so that you never feel salesy or weird about doing your sacred work. And it's just going to be amazing when you get to be who you are, when you get to do what you love, and you just get paid for it really, really well. I have just been traveling for the past 2 months. I have not worked much at all. I've spent most of the time with my son, and I took on 3 new clients, which is like 20K, just from having a few conversations with people, which is pretty amazing. So what I teach you really in this program is how you can earn a really great monthly income in just like 25 hours a week, because I feel that healers should not be working full time. There's so much, I feel that nobody should be working full time. As much as I love my work, there's so many other things in life that I want to do, like take care of my son, get involved in charities. I love horseback riding. I love snorkeling. I love traveling. There's so many things in life, right? So this is what I teach you how to do as well, because I struggled a long time with it. So I think it's important to include that. And I also have included the Money Magic Mastermind, which is an amazing, 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 very deep healing journey around the energy of money that's really going to amplify your financial success big time. So all the content is pre-recorded for you. You can go through it step by step whenever it's most convenient for you. And we also have weekly live sessions on Zoom to support you. We also have a private group to support you. You get sessions with me. They are really for psychic readings, for personal spiritual mentorship, for custom tailored business coaching. You also get sessions with Victoria. Those are the sister share sessions where you really come together as women. You can talk about anything that you like, because it is really important to have community on this path, to have others who inspire you to do what you want to do. Not everyone in your life is going to understand this path. It's just really important to have like soul women who make this journey a lot more fun and a lot easier. Yeah, and then after just 7 months, you're a certified healer. You've created a beautiful healing business, and you can start earning a great income. And that's really what I want for all of us heartfelt, soulful women, to have a bigger impact for good in the world. And there's 2 different options to join. There's a VIP version, and there's the partial scholarship price. So I really want to have different options here to make it doable for anybody who wants. There's different payment plans. So if you want to find out more about all of that, just book a chat with me. I'm holding those chats. There's some spaces I think left for tomorrow and some for Monday, and then I'm traveling and will be available again Thursday and Friday next week. So on those 4 days, those 2 scholarships will be awarded. They will be gone for sure. So don't miss out on the chance. If you can't find a spot that suits you in my calendar, I am already pretty booked out, but we can make it work. Just send me a private message. Victoria also does these calls, and she's a graduate of Shamanic Stars herself, so she can give you a great inside perspective. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to share with you about Shamanic Stars, apart from the fact that you can get the Dark Goddess Initiation, which costs over 2,000 euros separately, for free if you pay in full, if you join now, even if it's the partial scholarship price, which is a pretty cool offering. So I'm very excited about this journey. Good. Now, questions that I have received. How do I know I'm ready to become a healer? This is kind of a multi-layered question. If you haven't gone through the Shaman Initiation yet, which is my 3-day program, I really recommend. It's just 7 euros. It's like ridiculous. It just doesn't even cover my ad cost, but I want to make it available to as many women as possible, because many women are struggling with that question, right? We Western women, we get initiated from within, from spirit, not from an elder of our own tribe, which doesn't mean we can't be great healers. On the contrary, everyone can be a great shamanic healer. We all have this capacity. It's an innate capacity to access higher consciousness and to have spirit work through us. So I recommend you go through those 3 days. They are really an initiation into this topic, and we'll answer all of your questions in detail. Do I even have what it takes? Same thing, go through the Shaman Initiation, because this is in detail, like you will know if you are experiencing a shamanic healing or not. It will become crystal clear for you. How far along do I need to be with my healing to be able to start working with others? We are always on a healing journey for as long as we live, right? So don't go around thinking that you can't help people because you feel like, you can't help yourself or you haven't healed enough. It's always more difficult to help ourselves. That's why we're not alone in the world. Lots of the stuff that I do for other women, I cannot do for myself. Some of it I can, some of it I can't. That's why we're not alone, yeah? So we get to help each other. And the thing is, you're not gonna be a great healer for everybody. That's why in my training, I show you how to specialize in a specific group of people. There's gonna be an area or 2 in your life where you feel like, wow, I excel at this. I used to struggle. Now I get it. Now I can help others. That's what you specialize in. So it doesn't mean you have to be a completely healed and whole person, right? That being said, of course, it is important for healers to always keep up our own self-care and self-healing, which is why I have included that in Shamanic Stars. The first 9 weeks are literally all about that. And I often send women back to these practices. It's really important for me to give custom-tailored guidance when I have my apprentices. So when they're struggling with whatever they're struggling with, there's always some part of that training that I send them back to, because these things are essential, right? Good. What self-care routine works best for healers? I think I already answered this question. In my opinion, it's a mixture of yogic and shamanic practices, which is why I have created shamanic yoga. So that's because the yogic practices are very accessible and the shamanic practices go very deep. And together we can really help ourselves heal and be well on all levels. The physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual level. So I absolutely love that. If you want to, you can also check out my YouTube channel. I have lots of free practices there as well, so you can just dive into that. And then there's more programs for you to explore on my website, shamanicyoga.love. And I can pop the link to the shaman initiation and to YouTube into the comments. If you remind me, I'll do that after I answer all the questions. Now, how do I set healthy boundaries as a healer not to get overwhelmed or attract negative energies? We actually talked about that before already. These healthy boundaries you mostly set energetically. I teach this to my clients in the first 3 weeks of Shamanic Stars, so it's quite an intricate process. It's about finding out how to access, how to feel your personal place of power, which is kind of around your body. Your body is inside of you. It's not you are inside your body, right? You are much bigger than your body, and you want to really learn how to control that field of energy in a way, to keep it clean, to keep other people's energies out of there. So that's really how we do that. And as a healer, when you really, what we've just talked about today, the whole topic we talked about, becoming a clear channel, when you know how to become a clear channel, you cannot attract negative energies because you are just the channel for healing energy to flow through. You will never even touch the negative energies that someone is holding, right? That's why we have our special spirit guides like an extraction power animal, a retrieval power animal. They are the ones that get in touch with that energy, right? Why can't I see more when I meditate or visualize? We also talked a little bit about that before. So it could be a third eye block that you have. I have a whole course on shamanic chakra healing because this is such a big topic. Because you can't just balance and heal one chakra, they are all connected. So you really need to go through all of them if one of them has a block. And it can't simply be because you have not practiced enough or because you haven't been taught in the right way. Like I know so many people who've struggled with that for years and years, just like I did, but they just haven't been taught the right way. That's why I combine yoga, shamanism with yoga, because when you first focus on the body and, through asana, then you focus on the mind through pranayama, the breathing practices, and then you go into meditation and you make it shamanic meditation. So you use the trance state to go deeper. It becomes a lot easier to really visualize, to see, and to access these dimensions, right? We cannot access shamanism through the body or the mind. They are just the entry gates. Shamanism is access through the heart and soul levels. But first we need to be able to get there, so we need to learn how to do this step by step. Let me know if all of this makes sense. I know I talk fast. I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions. Why do you combine yoga with shamanism? I think I already answered that as well. When I was first doing my apprenticeship, it started out as a group apprenticeship, and I later did one-on-one with the same shaman. I trained for quite a long time. I was doing it while I was pregnant and having a baby and being a single mom, so it took a long time, but I did it. And I noticed in the first part when I was doing in the group that hardly anybody learned anything. We were just tossed into that. That's how most teachers teach. Also, Sandra Ingerman teaches in the same style. It's very common for shamans. I love her, by the way, so it is not a criticism. But many people don't learn this way when they're just thrown into the cold water. Yeah, we have to learn it step by step. And when I was doing this apprenticeship and excelling so much at shamanism from the start, I realized that it was because of yoga, because my body was strong, my body was relaxed, my mind was open and calm, and those were the prerequisites. So that's why I combined them. And also, there are so many other advantages. If we do a big shamanic healing, it needs to be integrated into the body, and there's no better way to do that than to move the body with shamanic asana, and to integrate with the breath through pranayama. If we don't do that, we often get sick after a big shamanic healing. So it has more advantages. What does your day-to-day life as a healer look like? It's pretty cool, actually, So it's kind of different depending on what project I'm focusing on. My work gets to be very creative. So in general, I can say when I get up in the morning, I first do my Kriya, my cleansing practice, then I do my asana, then I do my meditation, and then I start to work. Often I channel a little bit, I write things down when I'm inspired coming out of meditation, and then I start my work. I connect to clients, I check Facebook, I check all my groups, I reply to people, and I create new content like this session for today. So it's really about serving the clients that I already have and reaching out to those women who might want to become clients, who want to train as healers and build successful healing businesses. And then of course it's about holding sessions, right? Different types of sessions, healing sessions, coaching sessions, sister share sessions. I hold rituals for my clients, so this is kind of what I do the rest of the day. And I always have some days where I know I'm going to need to be live in the sessions, and I have a day after that in the week where I do more stuff like writing, channeling, admin stuff, more like just for me in my world. And I really need this because I'm very sensitive. So when I show up for people, I want to show up in my full beauty, in my full power. And some days I just want to do my own thing quietly in the background. So for me, it's important. So there's a lot of organization that goes into my week. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I host sessions, I create content, I do rituals, and I have conversations with potential clients, which I love. It's always so nice to connect to women one-to-one, heart-to-heart, and to see if I can help them more. And that's pretty much it. And and then after that, I usually have kind of a light lunch or brunch, and then I have a nap, and often I meditate during that time. It's like one of the things I love the most. It's like I start to meditate and then I fall asleep for just like 20 minutes and I wake up super energized and inspired. I've been thinking about creating these practices for my clients to listen to as guided practices as well. So you see, everything I do for myself, I kind of try to recreate so that others can benefit from it too. And then in the afternoon, I play with my son and we do fun stuff, often in nature. We are not really city people. I get overwhelmed really quickly. And, I have dogs, I have cats, so I take care of them. I spend time with my partner. We go to the beach, we do whatever we like. And, that's pretty much how my day looks. It's pretty beautiful. Good. Now, how can I be a high vibe healer in this world, which can be so stressful in the 3D? That's a really good question. So I totally acknowledge that there is a lot of low vibes going on in the world, a lot of things that are not easy to stomach when you're a sensitive person, but you don't have to take that all in. That's a choice you make. What you pay attention to is absolutely your choice. I used to be so exasperated and desperate when I was looking at the world. When I was 18, I started working for Greenpeace. That's how much I cared about the world and the planet and all of that. Later I went on to work for the Red Cross, I became a manager there. I really I always tried to help people and the planet and animals, and then I realized I was never gonna do it the conventional way, being out there on the street trying to educate people, that was not my way. And now, I realized that when I'm a healer, when I'm anchored in a high vibration, that's how I benefit most people, by really fulfilling my soul purpose. And of course you can't always avoid stress in the 3D. I have stressful situations with my partner sometimes, with my son sometimes. That's normal. It's a normal part of being human. But what's really important for me is always connecting back to my higher self, connecting back to my soul self and to my spirit guides as soon as I can, because they give me the bigger perspective, right? From a little human perspective, everything could seem tragic and horrible. But when you have a bigger perspective, it just changes so much. So that's why my spiritual practice is absolutely important to me. And I always try to, even when I'm out there in the 3D world and I see stuff, I always try to see something positive in everything, So that's really how I do it. And of course you have to create your tribe, I spend most of the time with people who get it and who love me and who love what I do. And that's basically it. You have to really care about how you feel. You have to really care about your mission, and you have to, that has to be more important to you than what other people think. And over time you create your safe places and you move mostly around in those. And that's a really good choice to make, if you ask me. How does shamanic healing actually work? How can I access higher consciousness and move soul level energy? Well, I actually covered that pretty well. I think we become a clear channel. we unite with our spirit guides and power animals, and they actually do the work. They give us all the insights, they guide us back to the past where things happened, they move the energy we need to return. So this is how it works. Of course, this is a process that I teach in detail in Shamanic Stars, and I would love to talk to more of you about this amazing opportunity to join right now, when you can snag one of those partial scholarships as well as get the Dark Goddess initiation for free. So in the description you have the link to book the chat with me. It's shamanic-yoga.love/claritycall, and I really look forward to having you there, and I promised I would give you those links as well. So let me check. Links to my YouTube, where you have a lot of free practices to enjoy. God, I have so many links that I'm using. Here we go. Here we go. So popping that into the comments now, that is my YouTube channel. It's a bit underused, but it has some quite cool content for you to explore. And what else? What else did I want to post for you? Oh yeah, the shaman initiation. If you have not participated in the shaman initiation yet, I highly recommend. It's really, even before booking a chat with me, it's the best way to really know, am I meant to be a shaman? Is this my destiny or not? It's a pretty cool coupon code where you get it all for just €7. So it's an amazing thing to do. And if you have already gone through the shaman initiation, definitely book a chat with me. Let's see how we can take you further on this path. Okay, ladies, thank you so much for being here with me today. It was an absolute pleasure. I hope you got lots of treasures out from this training. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know. And in the meantime, I'm sending you so much love. And bye for now. Namaste.